This evening we commemorate the Last Supper, which Jesus shared with his disciples. This was probably a Passover meal, though St. John, different as always, says it was the day before Passover. Anyway, the Passover meal looks back to the great deliverance from Egypt, the foundational event of God's first people, Israel. But this particular last meal with his disciples looked forward. It was foundational in its turn for the new supper which Jesus commanded God's people to celebrate as a way of remembering what he did for us through his passion and of continually renewing our fellowship with him and with one another. This is why it's important that we celebrate communion on Maundy Thursday. Even though this year, because of our confinement, we are not able to physically share the body and blood of our Saviour, but even so, we can share it spiritually. This evening, we also recall Jesus' last gift to his disciples, an unusual gift, a commandment. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you should also love one another. And we remember how Jesus acted out that love by washing the feet of his disciples, a menial task normally performed by a slave. But this was how Jesus chose to illustrate his servanthood. It was a shocking reversal of roles, shocking especially to Peter, who thought it was all wrong until Jesus explained. Under our present circumstances, it may make us think of all those normally unsung heroes and most often heroines in the care homes, the people to whom we outsource menial services like washing the elderly. These servants truly are following in the footsteps of Jesus. Loving one another, serving one another humbly in love, that is how Christians are to be recognized and known. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. If we Christians fail to love one another, we become unrecognizable as followers of the servant king. That is why it is so very damaging when churches are riven by disputes and division. This applies at the level of the local congregation, where personal clashes and arguments about details of worship can make a mockery of our witness. We all know how disputes of this kind, often quite trivial, can become toxic and seep through to poison church life. Some of us will remember talking about this sort of thing in session 2 of our Lent course, A United Church in a Divided World. But the same also applies to divisions within the wider church, because it is surely true that the rivalries, competition, and even indeed hatred between different branches of the Christian church made us unrecognizable as followers of Jesus. This must be one of the main reasons why so many Europeans no longer look to Christianity as their inspiration and guide. This is why the ecumenical movement is so important. It seems to be the Spirit's way not only of bringing Christians closer together, but also of bringing us closer to fulfilling Christ's new commandment to love one another, of making us more recognizable as followers of Jesus Christ.